Welcome to One on One, the podcast for tips, tricks, and techniques for the ON1 software community. And here's your host, Scott Kelby.
Hey everybody, welcome. Thanks for hanging in there. We had a little technical issue here that got us a little bit late today. The technical issue is me, by the way. So anyway, welcome. Glad you're here. In a few minutes, we're going to have Dylan Kotecki joining us, and he's always got cool stuff. And I've got an interesting topic for today. I wrote it down. Let me say, I have to look to make sure I say it right. 7 editing mistakes to avoid, or you can call it 7 editing mistakes a lot of people make. You can call it whatever you want, but I want to show you some things that I see commonly. So I host another podcast called The Grid that runs every Thursday at 1 o'clock, and we've been doing it for 12 years. One of the things that we do, it's our most popular episode usually, is a thing called the blind photo critiques, where we ask people to send in 3 of their best images, but they don't tell us their name. That's why they're called blind photo critiques. Why don't we have them tell their name? So we can give an honest critique. Because it's hard to get an honest critique about your photography. It's hard to get somebody to tell you the truth about your images. You know, your family's not going to say, hey, mom, it's time to sell your gear, right? No one's going to really tell you, you know, the truth. So we do. And we try to do it in a reasonable way. We don't just trash people, right? You know, we try to say, well, maybe you should fix this or fix that. However, we consistently see the same mistakes being made in post-processing. So that's what we're going to talk about, but not before I have a drink of my free water here. That's so free. All right, the first one is, and this one we see so often. So take a look at the picture I have open here. It's in Photoshop. And just see if you can figure out what this mistake is here. Just take a look and I'm going to give you a second and just see if you can go, oh yeah, that's... So when I see an image like this, and that looks like it was taken in Tempe, Arizona. When I see an image like this, to me it looks flat. Just very, 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 just flat, right? And I see this so often. It's almost like you didn't edit the photo at all, but this has been edited a little bit, but it's missing a very, very important component. So I'm going to go into the filter menu on one, and we're going to choose. I'm going to go right to Effects 2025. And by the way, I just downloaded 2026. Why didn't it show up? Who knows? All right. So here's the thing. There's a couple of things that you can do that would just easily fix this. Now, you could just go over here to the Develop tab, or if you're just using effects, you could add a filter. And the filter that I would add here is tone enhancer right here. All right, because these tones need enhancing. All right, and easily enough, what you could do is just simply go here to contrast and drag it up. So look at the difference just right there. Just doing that without doing anything fancy, without going to curves, without having to do anything crazy, that right there brings back a lot of the, well, what contrast does, right? Think about this. What contrast does is it makes the brightest part of your photo brighter and the darkest parts of your photo darker. So here, that one slider does both for you in one slider. However, it has helpers. So I went to 100 and I'm like, I think it could use a little more. Then what you'll do is just slide down a little bit here to the blacks, drag them to the left, and you can see how nice and saturated it's getting. And then if you go to the right with the whites, yeah, you're getting a very, very different look. Look at the difference. It's almost like you were looking through a dirty windshield in your car and then you turned on the wipers, right? And so there might be some areas that get a little dark, like maybe in here, and of course you could just go brighten those. You could even just, you know, go to the shadows and open those up a hair without having the whole image look bad. So I think that's pretty much right there, and without even having to go any further than that, right? Just that right there, you know, look at the difference here, look. That's one of the biggest problems, consistent problems that I see, and that's just a very, very easy way to fix it, all right? So let me start there. All right, So that's number one, is contrast. All right, number two is, I wrote these down. Number two is, let me hit cancel here, and let me open up another image before I give you the is. Let me just go grab it real quick. Let me hit open, etc., etc. Oh, hey, you know what? Can I open this image? Sure. Hang on. I want to open this image real quick. Just don't move, don't breathe, don't make a sound. I'm going to open up right here. So look, I just pulled up another image. This one is a more of a landscapey image, right? And I wanted to show you this with the contrast, all right? So you can actually, well, I don't want to cheat, but you could go to tone and color here in the develop and go to whites and blacks and then bring up the contrast. And that's that's some of these images, that's all they need. They just look look at that, how flat that looked, right? And then if you want to bring in some detail here, you can either use the masking brush, or you can just, open up the shadows just a little. Didn't need a whole bunch more. But yeah, right there, boom. Okay, yeah, that looks a tad better. Okay, all right, so that was number one. I just forgot I wanted to show you that second image, and now that I've done that, I can move on to other things. All right, number two is, let me get it open, the overuse of dynamic contrast. Now, if you have not used the dynamic contrast in ON1 Effects, it is one of the best things in all of ON1 Effects. There's still another thing that might tie with it, but of all the filters, this is the one everyone's hung up on because it's fantastic. And because it's fantastic, we tend to overuse it, and it makes things look crunchy. Let's look at the guy that we have on screen here. Let me go pop it open in Effects. And we're going to add a filter, and the filter we're going to add is dynamic contrast right here. Now, there are these styles that you can choose, and you can choose, that's neutral, surreal, and this is more like what I see a lot of, is surreal and more, to where the image starts to look crunchy. And I would say that is very crunchy, but it's also very typical of what I see. And of course, there's other ones that you can choose here, the texture enhancer, and see that's just so much. This grunge contrast, so let me show you before and after. You can tell you're going in the right direction. It's just too far. That's why one of the most important sliders in here is the opacity slider. Is that for the fact that you can just say, all right, well, we know this too little, that's too much. Where is the sweet spot? And what I would say to you is, go ahead and apply it full on like you were gonna do. And then back it off until it looks realistic. See, I think right there, I'm down quite a bit here. I think that's much better. Yeah, look, you still get the effect without destroying the image. And I think that's a big problem. Now, I'm going to talk about the same exact thing with the next one, which is applying dynamic contrast, which it adds a bit of tonal. You can see the tone changing, right? But this one is either dynamic contrast or just simply sharpening, just sharpening the image, right? The mistake I see people make is you're not supposed to sharpen the out of focus background. You're not supposed to sharpen clouds. There are certain things that you're not supposed to sharpen, and when you sharpen them, it makes your photo look weird. When you sharpen it like this, you can see the background here. Take a look at the picture that we were just looking at. The background is not supposed to be sharpened, right? So instead, you would select your subject or select your subject's face, just that area, just paint in this area or however you want to do it, and avoid that background, because what it does, I'm going to crank the opacity back up, it affects the background in a very bad way. See, that looks natural, and then your background looks kind of funky. Don't sharpen your background. Don't add a lot of dynamic contrast or any dynamic contrast to a background that is supposed to be out of focus. Soft backgrounds, clouds, they're just things that are not supposed to be, and they look funky. And sometimes it's hard to see that you're looking at the subject and you're not realizing what it's doing to the background, but it's not good. All right, number 4 is going too far with your color. Let me pull up a different image. And we see this a lot where people they're just cranking up the color, and it's not a good thing. So let me grab an image. Well, we got a couple ones we could do for color. But let me just open this image, and we'll open up, here we go. Let's open it up in ON1 Effects. Now, one of the things that you do get from color here, let me just go add the tone enhancer to start, is when you do add contrast to something that's already fairly contrasty, like you could come in here to the curve and add contrast, it makes the colors more vibrant. Look at that sky, right? Those colors are, you have to be careful when you're adding contrast, because if you add too much, it makes all of your colors look way too vibrant. I'm going to go up here to where we were at the contrast slider. Watch when I lower the contrast, right? It makes the sky actually look more realistic. When you add too much contrast, and especially if you add too much dynamic contrast, you will see your clouds get drop shadows. That's how you know you've gone too far. If you start to see like a black edge starting to appear on clouds, clouds don't have drop shadows because there's nothing behind them. There shouldn't be a drop shadow. So that's what you're seeing there, is if you add too much vibrance, or if you go add a filter, if you go here to like color enhancer, that's very easy to go too far and just really just pump up the colors, like increase color. See, you got to be careful with these things. But again, if you choose increase color and you go, I like the overall color, but it's too much, this is where the opacity kicks in. Find your sweet spot, and it's probably not at 100. All right, so that's another editing mistake, is doing too much. Let me go back to my list and look at my next one. White balance. White balance is one of the most common mistakes that we see people make, and it's very, very easy to fix. Let me just go grab and when you first look at it, the thing about white balance is you kind of have to fix it before you see it. It's not really too bad, right? And all you have to think of is if you fix it, the only way to get good at fixing white balance is to continually fix them. And I think the mistake people make is they look at the image and it goes, oh, it looks okay, and then they don't do it, and then they don't fix it. You have to fix every single image. So if you were to open an image and you look and you go, wow, it's too blue, or it's fine, but you fix it, and you were right, it's fine. So what did it take you? One click, right? It took you one click. And if you fixed it and it's wrong, it's just one click. Fix your white balance. It's one of the things that people talk about the most, and one of the things I see the most. It's a mess. And hey, I know Dylan's standing by. Sorry, Dylan, I'm keeping you a little longer than I expected to. All right, here. I'll just give you one more. I think I've gotten everything else pretty much. Well, I'll just tell you the last two because I'm running over here. But number one is they don't remove distractions in the image, right? There is a perfect eraser brush that just takes stuff away. It's like magic. And they'll leave things in the photo that you're like, why? Why didn't you remove that spot on the ground, stains? I look for all that stuff. Like, I'm looking for stuff to remove, and if there's anything distracting, I take it out. And the last one is, I don't want to keep Dylan waiting, is, wait a minute. Oh, you didn't take advantage of one of the coolest things in here. And I think it is one of the most underused and underplayed features of all, and it's Brilliance AI. The Brilliance AI feature, it's AI, but it's better than the AI auto in Lightroom or in Photoshop's Camera Raw. It really does great. It analyzes your photo, it does its own fix, and I got to tell you, I think it's the best like starting place of any place. I'll just take this picture over real quick. And let me go to effects, or develop is fine. It's going to open develop anyway. And Brilliance AI right here. This is the thing. Give it a second. And it just by itself gives you a really good starting place. And then if you want to tweak it from there, I think I would just tweak the whites and you're done. That's how easy it is. Right? It's just, I think it's one of the most underutilized, like if you want a good, solid starting place and it gets you to second base where all you have to do is bring it home, that's it. I had to move one slider, half an inch, and it's done. Start with Brilliance AI, turn it on, let it do its thing, and if you have to tweak anything, you're already in a really good shape. All right, I know I've gone on too long. I want to give a couple of shout outs here. Rose is saying, hi, everybody. I'm in Australia with Heather Gold. Hey, Natalie Jones is saying hi. Susan's saying hi. Hope you're all warm down there in Florida. Hey, I'm wearing a coat. It's a little chilly today. I think it's like 50-something degrees. Oh, it's up to 55, so it's burning here. It gets to 55 in Florida, they close the schools. Marcy is here from Phoenix. Jeff saying hi from Tulsa. Diane's here from Pensacola. John says, hello, everyone, from an icy, snowy Maryland. But Washington, D.C. does look really pretty. Rick says hi from Columbus, Ohio. Brenda's here. Hey, Brenda. Brenda says hi. And Susan Scharnberg says, dynamic contrast is brilliant and so nicely adjustable. Yeah, so dynamic contrast lets you choose, to affect small areas, the medium areas, the large areas. But the quality of this is one of the best things I think they've ever written. I think it's wonderful. But I'm really going way over my time allotment here. Luckily, standing by, Dylan Kotecki is out there. Dylan, you there?
I'm here.
There he is. Hey, Dylan, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Glad to be back. It's been a minute, I feel like.
Yeah, it is. But so we're working. Our crew is working with Dylan to get him to do a class for Kelby 1. We've been trying to come up with a way we can get him to do a class for us, because we're big fans of Dylan's here at Kelby 1. So, all right. So Dylan, I have unfortunately eaten up into a lot of your time.
No worries.
But I know what you're showing today, and I think it's pretty cool. And it's another thing that I don't think people realize. There's underutilized parts of effects and Photo Raw, and I think this is one of them. So
totally.
I'm passing you the mic.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you so much. And I think it's probably good that you just left me a few minutes, because it's nothing too crazy. And so it actually, I think, works out. But yeah, so with ON1 Photo Raw and ON1 Effects, at our website, we have an entire creative library. And so there's literally thousands of presets, textures, LUTs, skies, backgrounds, borders, like you name it. You can find it in our creative library. It's just on1.com/creative-library. So it's really easy to find. You can even filter out what you want and just scroll through here. There's before and afters, instructions on how to download them, how to get them into the application. And I thought it'd be a good thing to show, because we just this month gave away Effects 2025 for free, and then we just released ON1 Effects 2026. So one of my favorite features that I use constantly inside of ON1 Effects, and even Effects in Photo Raw, are textures and borders. They're really fun. You can get a really creative, stylish look on your images. And like I said, we have tons and tons of them to download. So in Effects, we'll just start with borders. Really fun one, really easy one. And what I like to apply borders to are black and white photos. I think black and white, just simplistic, monochromatic images look great with a border on them. And so let me just add on a LUT real quick, which you can download also from our website. We'll just go black and white, looks great. And then let's just go in here. We're going to add a filter. We'll add on borders. Now, my favorite border out of all of them is just the default one right here. I think it looks perfect.
Yes, yes.
It's just elegant. I love it. It's my favorite. I rarely, if ever, just kind of go through and pick a different one other than this one. I love this one. But uh, in the borders filter here, just go into the style section, and if any of these panes are hidden, I think some people don't really know, but you can just open them up. And so if these are hidden, just click on them and it'll roll them right up. But just go into this more section of styles, and you can literally just navigate through all of the ones that are built into effects. There's tons already right here, but you can import your own. There's these sort of, playful ones here. There's more tin type looking ones where they really exaggerate that vintage feel. But I wanted to show how easy it is to import your own borders as well. So I just downloaded the pack. I'm going to go into the border section. I'm going to click import, and it just opens up my computer's navigator. I'll go to where I downloaded them, vintage borders, select them, open. You can choose a category. I've already imported them, but you just choose a category and click OK. And then you have your borders right there. So now if you just go into the category menu here, you go down all the way to the bottom, and it has the ones that you've imported. So these are your custom borders here. And so you can get some, obviously these are a little bit more stylish, a little bit more playful, but you can have sort of a retro feel on your image, whatever you want to add. At our creative library, there's tons and tons of different ones. But another one, or another favorite filter of mine that I like to use, is textures. And textures is the same way, really easy to use, and you can get some really cool styles with it. I love to use textures on portraits to bring in, sort of film leaks or film burns. I think they look really cool on portraits. So if I add a filter here, just go down to textures, and then you could use this style section. Again, just roll through these and see which one works for your photo. But you can go into this category menu, and if I scroll up, there's these film burns built directly into the textures filter. Now for me, I like going into this mode menu here, and I like to use lighter. The default is subtle, and it works for different types of textures that you're adding onto your photo. But I like this lighter option because it gives it just a brighter feel. And so as I go through here, as you can see that lighter works just a little bit better on this portrait. Something like this where it just brings in this light leak, a little bit of film grain, some color. Just give it a nice, vintage feel. But same thing to import. Just click import, opens up your navigator, find your textures. And then again, in the category menu, just scroll all the way down, and then you'll have those textures there. Incredibly easy to do. Something like this where it looks, shot on classic film, gives it that feel. You could also add in another filter, use film grain, to really maximize on that vintage aesthetic. And as you can see, it's incredibly easy to do. And at our website, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different creative extras you can download. That's all I had. I oh my God, I made it in time.
Wow, you did. You did better than I did. I did very poorly.
No, it worked out. I think it worked out great. It worked out perfectly.
All right. So Dylan, where can people learn more about you and your photography, which is really, really good, by the way?
Thank you so much.
That's why we keep bugging you.
Yeah, no worries. I feel honored. Just at my Instagram, I think is probably the best way. It's just at dylan.kotecki. It's dylan.kotecki, and follow me, and you can check out some of my work there.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much, Dylan. I appreciate it. And thank you for covering for me for what, I actually have a minute left to show something.
It worked out. See?
I have 1 minute. Well, I didn't get to really show the perfect eraser. Now I can.
There we go.
All right. So take a look on screen real quick. And so this is, we were talking about the perfect eraser, right? So that's it right up here. You click on this little icon, and then you can go up here, and there's a pop-up menu to choose, like which one you want. The perfect eraser is probably the best one, but I see people do stuff like this all the time. It's a nice picture, but look, there's like stains and stuff over here. Like, how do you not see these? We see this all the time. What's it take? A brush stroke. Give it a second, gone. Brush stroke. I see this a lot. Just go up there and get rid of these things. How about these people that were crashing our party over here? Let's get rid of them as best we can. Let's see how it does. Didn't do perfect. I tried this earlier today, and it did an amazing job. And right now it says No, because people are watching. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's close. Then there's just this little area right here. Okay. Oh, okay, all right, that worked pretty well. This, just this little stuff that makes the difference that, most pros would not let slip by. And also, bright things in the background like that right there is drawing my eye. If it draws your eye, you should probably just try to get rid of it because you want everyone looking at your subject. I don't know if that really needs to go or not, but let's give it a shot and see how it works. This brush, it only wasn't awesome right over there. It has been 100% everywhere else. But anyway, so I'm glad I got to show you that. However, before we go, I want to show you one more thing. So we like to feature a photographer each issue for you to take a look at, and I want to show this guy, Pete Bristow. So he is an award-winning fine art pro landscape photographer, and he was the End Photo magazine, which is a Nikon publication in the UK. He was their photographer of the year in 2021. But this guy is a long exposure master, and he's got some just really, not only does he have interesting photos, if you live in the UK or you're going to like the Isle of Skye or, he's got some wonderful locations. Like, look at that shipwreck, right? And he's also doing another really neat thing. Now, check out this technique. And this is, well, actually, one of our Kelby One members turned me on to this guy. He's doing a thing where he blends the sea into the sky without a hard horizon line. So he just blends it to where it all goes up, and that's kind of an example there. And you can see some more of these where it just goes from the ocean to the sky as if it's one canvas. Look at this one. I want to go there. Like, I just love that. But you see, take a look at how, so the water's reflecting, it gets to the horizon line, but there is no real horizon line. It just kind of goes right up. And anyway, I think his stuff is great. Pete Bristow, right? So it's Pete and then underscore Bristow, Bristo. Follow him on Instagram, and he's also on Facebook as well. But you'll find lots of interesting. Look at this one, right? And look again. Where's the horizon line? There isn't one. It just goes straight up. Interesting, I thought he had a color version of this too. Let me see if I can find the color version real quick. He's got such great stuff. Anyway. Oh, look at that. I don't know. I think this guy's really onto something. Great photographer, obviously, photographer of the year in End magazine. So, all right, we've gone way over. So I want to thank Dylan Kotecki for joining us. He's a great guy and a really wonderful photographer, and we're very grateful that he joined us today. Thanks to everybody that tuned in from all over today. We were very glad to have you guys here, and thanks for watching. Oh, can I do one more thing? I know we're so far over. Just one more thing. I think it's cool. All right, I actually had downloaded, of course, the newest version. It's right here, ON1 Effects 2026. All right, and when you launch Effects, hold on. It's probably going to check for updates. Wait. Oh, that's my picture. What? My picture's in the splash screen. Oh, what? That's the second time. I'm really excited. I love that. It's a picture I took in Kyoto, Japan, and they asked if they could use it for the splash screen, and I'm like, you betcha. You betcha. I'm very excited. Doesn't happen every day. All right. Thank you. Thank you to my crew, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.